The idea of a smart city, a city that actually thinks and adapts and responds to us in real time, that used to be pure science fiction, right? Well, it's not anymore. It's the reality being built around us right now. So how is this urban revolution happening? And more importantly, what does it mean for you and me? Let's get into it.
So here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 6 key parts. First, what even is a smart city? Then we'll look at the data, the lifeblood of it all, and the AI that acts as the brain. After that, we'll dive into the incredible promises, the utopian vision, but also the very real dangers we have to face. And finally, we'll talk about the choice we all have and what our future cities will look like.
All right, let's kick things off with the most important question. What is a smart city, really? We hear this buzzword thrown around all the time, but what's actually going on underneath the hood?
I mean, is it just about packing our streets with the latest tech, sensors on every corner, super fast Wi-Fi everywhere? Or is there something deeper going on here? Well, it turns out the answer has a lot more to do with people than it does with wires and circuits.
Okay, this definition might look a little academic, but it's actually perfect. It says a smart city is a synthesis. It's not just about the hard infrastructure, the roads, the buildings, the power grids. It's about weaving all of that together with our social infrastructure, how we talk to each other, how we share ideas, how we build communities. And that brings us to a really crucial difference. See, a digital city is just a place that's full of tech. A truly smart city asks a much better question. How can we use all this technology to actually make people's lives better? Because, let's be honest, a city that's super efficient but forgets about the well-being of its citizens, well, that's not very smart at all, is it? So if we think of a smart city as a kind of living thing, then what's its nervous system? Well, that would be data. A constant flow of information, sensing what's happening, processing it, and sending signals all over the place.
And where does all this data come from? Oh, pretty much everywhere. It's coming from sensors in our traffic lights and our water pipes. It's the location data from our phones and the GPS in our cars. It's even the stuff we give away willingly through apps, our social media posts, and pretty much every time we buy something online. You're looking at the digital footprint of an entire city all at once.
Now think about what this means. When you pull all of that data together, you're creating this incredibly powerful social microscope. For the first time in history, city planners can actually see the hidden rhythms and patterns of our daily lives, not just for a few people, but on a massive citywide scale.
But, collecting trillions of data points is one thing. Making any sense of it, that's a whole other challenge. That's where the city's brain comes in. And in a smart city, that brain is artificial intelligence.
AI basically turns this giant ocean of raw data into actual intelligence, and it does it in 4 steps. First, it just soaks it all up, acquiring the data from all those different sources. Then, it starts mining through it, looking for those hidden patterns, like how traffic really flows or where energy is being wasted. And once it understands the patterns, it can run simulations to predict what's going to happen next. And the final, most important step, turning those predictions into real-world action and smarter planning for the city.
Okay, so what's the end game here? When you connect all these dots, the data, the AI, the infrastructure, what kind of life does that create? You start to get this vision of a perfectly optimized city. Maybe an urban utopia?
The list of potential benefits is just staggering. Imagine a city where traffic just flows because the system spots a jam before it even starts. Imagine an energy grid that sends power exactly where it's needed, with almost zero waste. Public transit that's never late. And it goes beyond just efficiency. It could mean giving people a real say in how their neighborhoods are planned, or even stopping a crisis in its tracks before it gets out of control. So, the dream is this: a city that's not just more efficient, but also fairer, more equitable, and more sustainable for everyone who lives there. A city that just works better for more people while being kinder to the planet. It's a pretty compelling vision, but it's also only half the story.
And now we absolutely have to flip the coin over and look at the other side, because all of this incredible power and all of this data, well, it brings a whole new set of very serious risks to the table.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple but massive question. In a city that's run by data and algorithms, who's actually in control? We're not just talking about a tech upgrade here. This is about a fundamental shift in power, potentially away from public hands and into the hands of private corporations.
This is the core tension, the real trade-off of the smart city. On one hand, you have the promise of convenience, efficiency, and safety. But on the other hand, you have the peril, a real threat to our privacy, a major risk to fairness and equity, and that huge question of who is really pulling the strings. And people are starting to notice.
Public trust in the companies that are building these AI systems has taken a nosedive. Just a few years ago, it was at 50%. Now it's down to just 35%. That's a massive drop. And you have to ask yourself, without public trust, isn't this whole project being built on a really shaky foundation? And then there's the hidden environmental cost. Powering these gigantic AI data centers is incredibly energy intensive. I mean, get this. Google says its new AI search features use 10 times more power than a regular search. So suddenly, that green, sustainable city vision runs headfirst into the massive energy footprint of the very technology that's supposed to make it possible.
So these are the big challenges we have to figure out. Think about it. The actual infrastructure of our future cities is being built by just a handful of huge tech companies. That creates a huge risk of a digital divide that leaves some people behind. It means we desperately need strong governance and new rules to put up some guardrails. And of course, putting all that control in one central system, well, that creates one giant, very tempting target for cyber attacks.
And that brings us to our final point, the choice that's right in front of us. The technology is already here. It's being rolled out as we speak. So the question isn't if we're going to have smart cities anymore. The question is how we're going to build them.
Because at the end of the day, the true measure of a smart city isn't going to be its processing speed or its efficiency rating. It's going to be how it treats its people. Is it fair? Is it just? Does it actually make life better for every single person who lives there? It all comes down to finding that balance between incredible technological progress and our most important human values.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. The smart city is being built right now, all around us. And the choice we all have to make is whether we're going to be active architects in designing what that future looks like, or if we're going to be passive residents, just living in a world that was designed by someone else. The choice really is ours.